Welcome to the Sturbridge Conservation Commission meeting for October 6, 2022. It is 5 p.m. We are meeting early because we plan to go into an executive session. We are meeting at the Center Office Building, second floor, 301 Main Street, Sturbridge, Mass. But that will not be open to the public until 6 o'clock. So with that, I will read. First of all, we'll do the quorum check. We have, starting, Eric?
Eric Gaspar present.
Roy Bishop present.
Ed Goodwin present, and
David Barnacle present.
David Barnacle present. Executive session pursuant to GLC 30A, Section 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation, RV Management Services LLC versus Sturbridge Conservation Commission, Worcester Superior Court, docket 2185 CV 00756, involving the property located at 30 River Road. If an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares that having a discussion in the open session would have a detrimental effect on the town's litigating position. With that, do we have a motion to go into executive session?
Eric Gaspar, I'd make the motion to go into executive session.
Do I have a
Second
second?
that.
Roy? David? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor?
David Barnacle in favor.
All right, we are now in executive session.
We're just gonna, we're too close to 6 o'clock, so if you want to come back on about 7:20 or so and check in.
Okay, that works.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I'll see you then. Thank you very much.
No problem. Huh?
All right, bye-bye.
Anything?
Oh, nothing. We got to reopen the meeting. We didn't do that yet.
Why, I included that in the motion. That we
Oh, okay.
reconvene under regular session, so I think you're good.
We're all set then.
This conference will now be recorded.
In person tonight.
All right,
And Mark could do his we could do that COC first, if you want, if we think it's gonna be short.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
welcome to the second portion of the Sturbridge Conservation Commission meeting. It is October 6th, at 6 p.m. We are meeting in not in the town hall, in this, I can't even remember the name, but the school.
Center office building.
Center office building is what I was looking for. If you'd like to join us, we are available both online and in live. So, that note, David, are you here? Still waiting for one.
Why don't you sit up there, Mark, so you're on the microphone?
Yeah, pull your mic up, Ed.
Oh, that's
good. I got away with
that, huh?
Do you want to give me the plastic
What?
one?
Oh, read for the hearing?
Can somebody read
What?
the public hearing?
Oh, this one here?
Nope. Over there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the plastic.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah,
There we go, read that real
yeah,
quick.
yeah, get that going.
Oh boy, I
Yeah.
thought Roy was volunteering.
I volunteered to. I learned how to dodge.
Thanks, Stephen. When's Stephen coming back? In the interest of saving time, the Sturbridge Conservation Commission will hold all public hearings tonight for work within a wetland, water body, or resource area and/or within
Oh, she gave
the
it to us.
200-foot buffer zone to a wetland, water body, or resource area, in accordance with the Mass Wetland Protection Act, MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, and associated regulations, and the Town of Sturbridge Wetland Bylaws and associated regulations. We will not be reading the newspaper ad. Prior to opening the first hearing for each project, the applicant is to submit proof of notification to all abutters within 200 feet of the subject property line and proof of legal newspaper advertisement. If these items are not submitted, the public hearing will not open. Additionally, prior to the start of each public hearing, we will announce the location of the project, the applicant, and the applicant's representative. If any of the visitors have not legibly signed in yet, please do. Also, if any visitors are recording this meeting, please let us know. Thank you.
All right, is David, David, are you there? Good. Let's see. Well, I'm going to do the same thing we did with the last one. Let's start the meeting off.
Well, we have quorum, so
Yeah, let's have a quorum check.
Eric Gaspar is here, I guess.
Roy Bishop, present.
Ed Goodwin, present.
Present, that's the word I was looking for.
All right. We are now on 33 Breakneck Road. It's an NOI, a driveway with pre-existing single-family home. DP file number 300-XXX. Anything there, Beck?
We did get a file number, since we did that, 1142.
1142. All right. Owner applicant, David Monroe. You want to go, Becky, from there?
Yep, I'll let Mark introduce the project. Just for the record, we have receipt of legal ad and a butter notifications.
Yeah.
And Mark, I'll pull this up. I just gotta share it with everybody if you wanna quickly go. over
Okay,
the
great,
project.
thank you.
A little slow.
Do you want to rotate or just leave it like that?
Maybe leave it like this, because
Okay.
the way it's from the road.
Okay, I'm Mark Farrell, Green Hill Engineering. I'm the applicant's representative. This project is to install a driveway for a single-family home. There's an existing home here, and currently they just have a pull-off from Breakneck Road that's here, and they park their cars. The DPW's asked them to have a driveway that'll go onto their land, so they don't park on the road during the winter time. So what we're proposing to do is to down a little bit lower, propose a driveway here. They can get 2 or 3 cars here and a little turnaround to get back out, so they don't have to back out onto Breakneck Road. This is slightly downhill, so backing out has, major visibility problems. This is a busy road, particularly on more days when the landfill's open. So below them is a pond. It's actually a big beaver pond, acres, and the dam is further down Breakneck Road. This is the approximate edge of the water. There's a bordering vegetated wetland associated with the pond here. This would be the 50-foot offset from the wetland, and this is a 100-foot buffer zone, and 200 feet would be off the property across the street. There's a little plateau here now existing, so there's not going to be a lot of grading. There'll be a little bit of fill brought in down here so they can construct a turnaround, and proposing on the downhill sides of the slope to put some riprap so that any water running off will not erode and be able to infiltrate into the woods directly below. And what we've proposed is a straw wattle line directly below the work area. And I don't think there might be 1 or 2 smaller trees in this area that might come down, but there's no major trees coming down. By minor trees, 6 or 8 inch trees.
Okay.
I put on the plan all the major trees. And there's one there.
Becky, anything?
Okay, so we did a site visit out there. For those that couldn't go, we provided some photos. It is a relatively flat area. DPW is asking them to do this project, so that this would be the most appropriate place for it. Right, there's not a lot of vegetation removal associated with it, except for maybe some smaller diameter trees out there. I don't see any concerns with the project. I would just maybe add, especially depending on when they do the work, maybe just add a silt fence on that for the downslope side, at least. But otherwise, I think this is a good project. We have everything we need that you can close the hearing. So if you look to move forward with the project, you could approve it. I'd recommend our standard conditions. in addition to adding the silt fence during work. And maybe since it's just a few smaller trees, we just make sure, and we can do that during the pre-construction meeting, they flag the trees to be removed, so everybody's on the same page.
Okay. Eric, any questions?
No questions. Could you just repeat the DEP file number again?
1142.
Roy?
The existing area over here, do we plan on doing anything with that?
I don't, it's paved now. I don't know if the DPW is going to ask that it be removed, but I haven't heard that they have, so I would assume they're just going to leave it like it is. I think the major concern is in the wintertime, parking and.
Right,
Plow.
and you're trying to plow.
Gonna plow
Yeah,
there.
I got it.
And there's no, this over here is kind of too steep. It drops off to the house, and then there's a little plateau here, so we really can't, it doesn't lend itself to put any sort of driveway here without major site work.
I was just thinking maybe pulling it up and putting something else in there as a way of an improvement for what you're doing over here.
When we were out there,
I go by that place all the time.
yeah, there were probably 5 cars there,
Yeah,
in a row in front of the house. So I think this is an ideal solution. You'll be able to put 3 cars in there off the road. You're never gonna clean them out, you know,
gotcha.
you know, it's just not feasible. I think it's a very feasible solution.
Okay.
It's built, it was used somewhat like that at some point in time, because it's
Yeah.
flat in there,
Yes, it is.
yeah, so DBW wants it, and I think it's a good plan. The other parts that you could look at, as, if you're looking here, there's slope here, so you're not gonna wanna do that.
Okay.
And you, by going in and curling it, they will be using the backup and coming out frontwards, so it'll be a much safer,
Yeah, you wouldn't want it back on a breakneck like that.
yeah.
No, you would not.
And on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Especially on a Saturday.
Especially on
Saturday,
days
yeah,
that the
yeah.
landfill, the recycling center's open.
David, anything?
Yeah, I have 2 questions, Mark. On that little projection that you have there, I was wondering if the gravel that's going to be put on it in order to dissipate the water could be very fine gravel, because then you would encourage a lot of organic growth. And I think that would also help to dissipate any kind of flowage from a heavy storm. And secondly, I wonder if across that flat, it wouldn't be appropriate to plant some shrubs, like some berry-bearing bushes. It would do a couple of things. It, first of all, would prevent cars and trucks from going down that slope. You know, it would be a fair warning system. And at the same time, it would give a little bit of benefit back for those 4 to 6 inch trees that they're going to be taking down.
That, Mark?
So the first one I couldn't quite hear.
I think he's talking
The
about,
first one was putting the small gravel instead of large chunks of gravel
the riprap.
away from that flat area in order to be able to have it spread the water and permit vegetative growth up between the small stones, so that also would help to spread the water.
Well, they'll dig out where the driveway is and put what they call hard packed gravel, which is a drivable, plowable surface. And then below that is somewhat vegetated now with just mountain laurel and understory bushes underneath the trees. And then below the turnaround area, they'll bring some fill brought in there, so the grade will be kind of leveled out with this plateau. And below that, proposing to put riprap, so that any runoff here would kind of dissipate the energy of the water and then allow it to infiltrate into the soils here. These soils, this is forest soil with lots of litter, undisturbed, so this water could easily just soak in right below the as it sheds off. And the same with this driveway over here. The driveway has a slight pitch from the Breakneck Road side here to the other side of the driveway, so it will shed water off. And there's already, I don't show it on the plan, but there's already mountain laurel and other shrubs in the understory from the driveway all the way down to the wetland.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
Anything?
No, I'm good.
Roy?
Good. Thanks, Ed.
I'm good. Have a motion?
Public? Well, public.
Public, yeah.
Well, yeah, but on here. Is there anyone on GoToMeeting that wanted to comment on the notice of intent for 33 Breakneck Road? I see no one that wants to comment.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we close the public hearing.
I second that.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor?
David Barnacle in favor.
With regards to DEP file number 300-1142 at 33 Breakneck Road, I'd like to make a motion to approve the application.
I second that. Roy Bishop.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor?
David Barnacle in favor.
Great. We are now on to 145 Walker Pond Road, RDA for a new septic repair.
Again, just for the record, we have proof of legal ad and a butter notification. I will pull up a plan here for discussion.
Okay.
Do you want to go over the project quickly?
Sure. For the record, I'm Mark Farrell, Green Hill Engineering. I'm the applicant's representative. This is a property on Walker Pond Road. The house sits quite a different distance back away from the road. There's a well in the front about almost midway to the road. So that kind of excludes this area here to put a septic system because we got to be 100 feet from the well. The current system is probably the original. When the house was built, I'm guesstimating in the 60s, maybe early 70s.
Yeah.
There's a 1,000-gallon tank here, and this is the proximate area of the leach field. The size of the systems have changed since they put them in here, so they're going to need to put something a little bit bigger in there. This house kind of sits up on a bluff or a plateau, and then it slopes down to the water. The water's probably 30 feet below here, the edge of Walker Pond, and then this is a 100-foot buffer to it, and this would be the 200-foot. So the work is outside the 100-foot state jurisdiction, but within the 200 feet of Sturbridge's bylaw. So basically what they'll do is they'll put a new tank in, a 1,500-gallon septic tank. They'll gravity over to a Presby system, and we put a Presby in there because you can follow the existing slope with it. You don't have to raise the grade. It's a smaller footprint, and it's a good system. So basically this will be put into the following, they'll kind of dig this area out and then fill it with the Presby sand and the leach field, and then they'll cover it back over. So the grades will be restored back to pretty much what's there now, plus or minus, 6 inches. So that's basically, we got another neighbor's well that comes here. We got another well over here that probably comes up in here. And I also located, there's some really mature trees here. This tree over here is probably, 36 inches?
Yeah, it's a big tree.
48 inches maybe.
Yeah.
So I kind of tucked this thing in between here, and we talked about taking this tree out here just for access. That's at the top of the slope. And then this is a dead tree over here, taking that one out. But other than that, there'll be no tree removal. And this is all vegetated. This is Walker Pond Association land down to the water. So it's all vegetated, mature trees, lots of mountain laurel.
All right. Any questions? Eric?
No questions. Looks like a good project to me.
What are you gonna do with the old system?
What they'll do is just leave it in place, abandon in place.
I thought they were putting the new one there.
This is,
They're putting the
that's
new
the
one here?
tank here,
Yeah.
and then this is the old tank will be pumped, and then they crush it and just grade it back over.
Okay.
And then this is the old leach field, and that's typically just abandoned in place.
Okay.
They don't dig it out unless you're going to put in a new leach field in the same area.
And there's no way you can do that? We can't connect the 1500?
No, because we need we'll put this deeper in the ground, and there's not a lot of room in here. There's a deck. We have to be 20 feet from the foundation. There's a 100-foot radius to the well right here. So if we dug it out, we would be within 20 feet to the foundation, and we would be within 100 feet to the well.
Okay.
And
Thank
Title V setback for a leach field to a wetland is 50 feet. So we're probably 130 feet, so we far exceed that. If we can make the 100 feet from the well, the Board of Health pretty much holds us to it.
Okay. Thanks, Mark.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I have no problem with that. That was an ideal site. Mr. Barnacle?
No questions.
Okay. No questions, the audience?
Is there anyone on GoToMeeting who'd like to comment on the notice of intent for 145 Walker Pond Road, or the request for determination of applicability? Sorry. All right, doesn't look like there's anyone here that wants to comment.
Motion to close the public hearing.
Roy Bishop will second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor?
David Barnacle in favor.
I'd like to make a motion that with regards to 145 Walker Pond Road, we issue the following determination: a negative number 4, a positive 2B, and a positive number 5, with the conditions of standard pre-work and sign-off conditions, and erosion controls to be installed at the limit of work as noted in the agent's detailed notes.
All right.
Roy Bishop will second that.
Any discussion?
One other thing, are they gonna truck, the excavated material off-site? Or any stockpiling?
Oh, yeah.
Like immediately? I'll add that in there.
Okay. Yeah, add that.
All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor?
David Barnacle in favor.
Great, thanks. Becky, never interrupt us again when...
Sorry, you looked at me. You looked at me, so. It's my opening. Just before Marcos, we have a couple minutes before the next hearing. We had a request for certificate of compliance request come in. It's not in your notes, the detailed agenda or the original agenda that I sent you. We added it in on Thursday after we completed that. So this is a request for certificate of compliance for 96 McGilpin Road. It was formerly known as 106 McGilpin. The DEP file number is 300-293. So this came in, Mark Rowell was the engineer. He went out, did a letter of substantial compliance. We couldn't locate in our records our file for conservation, but Board of Health did have records for the septic plan. So we were able to look at the septic plan and what's done out there. The limit of disturbance appears consistent with what was shown on that plan at that time. There wasn't a clear limit of work line, but there was grading shown on there. So, closest to the wetland. So I would say that the work they completed for that permit is consistent with what should have been on your plan at that time. So
Well, I'd like to make a motion then with regards to DEP file number 300-293 that we issue a certificate of compliance.
I'll second that.
Are you near it?
I'm further upstream.
I know. Any discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor, excuse me. David?
David Barnacle in favor.
Great.
That got us right to 6:20.
All right.
Thank you. Just a quick question. If you had, what file number were you on when you first started here?
Oh, yeah, I don't
This
know.
was, no?
I don't know. But you were here
pretty
before
close
to it.
No, I think you were here before me, so that's 240.
5 something.
But that was 292, I think, so.
Gilpin after I came in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, have a good night.
Thanks, Mark.
Are we on time? Can we go with this next one?
Yep, 94.
94 South Shore?
Yeah.
We're on time, yeah.
Yeah.
Usually it has its.
All right.
Have everything.
We're
Let's
at
do
two.
it. Right?
All right, 94 South Shore Drive, notice of intent, shoreline wall, DP file number 300-XXXXX.
Actually, it's 1141.
Becky, you got a number for me?
No, this is 1141.
Oh,
That one came in too, sorry.
You're such a hot shot.
We
and
called
Roy
DEP.
knew that.
Roy, yeah, Roy knew that.
Jeez, good for you, bud.
Roy, what are we going to do with
Well,
this
he's got
next
the
one? You
agenda
must
that
know
was
that,
over
too.
here, that's why.
He's got the paper agenda.
Yeah.
That's the secret
Yeah.
hack.
Yeah, so that came in afterwards, so. All right, we're just, Mike, are you on go-to here? We have a couple non-named people, so.
Hi, Lenny. Yeah.
Where's everyone?
We're waiting for you,
There's
Mike.
Mike.
He is, hi, how are ya?
Everyone just came in.
Your
Waiting for
adoring
you.
fans aren't here yet, Lenny.
Am I up?
You're up.
Yep, you're up.
We're on time, Mike.
Well, just barely.
All
All right, so I'll just, before you start, I'm gonna pull up the plan
Yeah.
that we can look at. We do have proof of legal ad and a butter notification, so we can open the public hearing. This one? Nope. Which one? All right, so I have it up there so everybody at home can see it, if you just wanna
Yeah,
project.
sure. So I think this is a good opportunity to get rid of some more poured concrete wall along the lake, along with a poured concrete ramp, and replace it with much more naturalistic stone stepped stone wall, using larger dry laid larger stones, but small boulders. There are existing plantings on part of the shoreline that were some native plantings, is plethora and blueberry bushes, but we're proposing to add some in this area here. These are existing. Honestly, it's quite a simple project here. Take out the concrete, bring in some natural stone. So, any questions, I'll glad to entertain.
Becky?
Yeah, so I just add,
Chapter 91 is in process, and along with the Mesa, they're reviewing it. So,
yeah, perfect,
Yeah.
perfect. So, right, so this South Pond is mapped as priority habitat, not estimated habitat. So estimated habitat is what is the trigger for review under the Wetlands Protection Act from the Endangered Species Program. And that's when there's an animal and you're looking at the wildlife habitat. The species that's here is a plant, so it's not protected under the Wetlands Protection Act. So they individually have to file with Natural Heritage under the Endangered Species Program. So we're not, in this situation, we don't have to wait for a response from Natural Heritage in order to move forward with issuance of a permit. So I know it's complicated there,
rules.
but
Well, you want to say that again? I think Roy didn't get it.
Yeah,
I didn't get it.
I didn't get it.
all right, I got it. So we're all set.
What's going on here?
You're the rookie. That's why.
I'm sure there'll be a condition that I get approval from.
Yeah, you
from
get
them.
that before you start work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right. Additionally, there's Chapter 91 requirements for work on Great Ponds when you're working on or below the high water mark, and they'll work through and do that separately. We can just add a condition in there that they have they apply, which they have applied prior to start of work here. So that's something that we talked to DEP about. So this is this wall that Mike's proposing is typical of what we've seen recently on some other shoreline projects. We did go out there and do a site visit, and I provided some photos for you to look at. I think this is a good alternative option for this site. Ideally, we'd love to see, more naturalized, vegetated shoreline without maybe just the boulders right there. But with the existing vegetation and the mature trees there, I don't think that that would be an option, because you'd really have to kind of step that back a little bit more. As you know, we've got some nice big mature trees along the shoreline.
Bill had a real concern with it, with just plantings on the banking, because there's such an extreme influx of water that it's some years it could be dry for a couple of years, and then it could be flooded. So his concern was, what am I going to be able to plant to take those kind of conditions?
Right, that's true. Right, unless you looked at the naturalized shoreline there. But I think that's a good alternative. We are looking at bank
We're
impacts
talking
here.
behind the stone wall or in front of it?
Well, we have pictures. Don't we?
What's that, Ed?
There's
The
plenty of area.
plantings.
Yeah, he has things there,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I put in the detailed agenda, I'm not going to say all of it, but the performance standard for bank. And because this is a disturbed bank, I don't see any concern with meeting those performance standards. So there's no concern there. Back to my notes here. So I would recommend at this time moving forward and closing the hearing and voting on it. And I did list a list of conditions in the detailed agenda. If you want me to read them out loud, if you don't need me to, I'll refrain. So
All right. Roy, anything?
No.
The only thing I was going to ask is, Mike, did you get a chance to read through the special conditions that Becky put in the detailed agenda, and are any of those objectionable to you?
Yeah, I did not. Is that online, or is that?
yeah, it's part of the packet, but do you
Okay.
want it? It's the same things that we talked about with the other wall, staking it. You
Yeah.
can't have the wall go past the toe of the existing wall.
And getting pictures.
Right.
Yeah, the pictures we asked
Yeah.
for.
Okay. Yeah. I'm getting used to that.
Good at that.
I think it started with you. So,
Yeah, I think so.
So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Right.
Yeah, no, I want to just go over those two. The height won't be changed,
No.
and the distance to the lake will not be changed.
No. It'll step back. It'll be.
Yeah. And we should put the Chapter 91 license up at the top of the things that are required, since
Right.
it's the one thing we're getting busted on, right? Right? We don't want to bury it in, because we have to,
Don't bury the lead.
Is it? Is that a final
now,
process
should we get a
completed
copy
with
of?
them, or is it in action? I guess that's the question.
In action.
Yeah,
In action, that's the
Well,
guy.
we should get a copy of the filing, right?
that's
We
fine.
get notified as part of the process, yeah.
We should
Yeah.
get a copy of the filing.
Okay,
That's fine.
we can work that out. yeah.
Notified is,
Other than that, no, I'm good with the project.
yeah.
Yep.
Roy?
I'm good.
I'm good. David?
I want to make one suggestion. One of the things that we haven't heard about with the really good results that have been taking place with all of these new dams that you guys have been building, I'm sorry, not dams, but rock walls, is plantings in the rock wall. And one of the plantings that I think would be appropriate is Cotoneaster. Because one of the things it does is that it develops a very, very hard stem. It can take all kinds of weather, including ice conditions. and it's low growing. It has a bloom that lasts through 2 seasons. And last but not least, tiny critters love to hide in it. Just a suggestion.
Anything further, anybody? Then we should go to the audience.
Anyone in the audience or anyone on GoToMeeting that would like to comment on the notice of intent for 94 South Shore Drive? I see no takers.
All right.
All right.
Well, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Any discussion? David? Seeing none?
No discussion.
All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor?
David Barnacle in favor.
Great.
So with regards to the DEP file number 300-1141 at 94 South Shore Drive, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the application along with the notes that were put in the detailed agenda for the conditions by the agent. And if you could, Mike,
Yeah.
make a suggestion to the applicant of David's plantings. I don't want to add that to my motion, but if you
Yeah,
could make
I
the suggestion,
definitely talk to him
I'd
about
appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I'll second that.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor?
David Barnacle in favor.
Great. All right.
That's it.
That's it. That was easy. All right.
Have a good night.
Are we still on schedule? What time?
6:30, yep.
6:30.
All right. 231 and 233 Cedar Street, continued NOI, construction of a single-family home and associated site work, DEP file number 300-1139. Owner applicant Bradley Zolskarowski, I'm sorry.
How do you say that, Lenny? You know?
Marzulkowski?
Melzakowski?
name? The owner. Oh, the owner. Yeah. I'll give you $1.
I'm going with Marzulkowski.
That's pretty close.
That's good.
I don't know.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So we have Scott Jordan on GoToMeeting here. We also have the builder, not the applicant in this situation, here in the audience as well. Scott, I'm realizing I saved your report, but I didn't save your plan.
Oh, I
If-
have hard copy. Do you have the card?
Not the one from today.
Yeah.
Oh, it came in the mail today?
Lenny gave it to me.
Oh, okay. So, if I give you the ability to share your screen, can you pull up the plan? I can.
try.
If you can. If not, I can log online and open Outlook that way and find it too.
Seeing if I have it up here.
You have the card?
I do. Yeah, I got the container right here.
I have hard copy in there.
Oh, good. I didn't know that. One's right in frnt.
I think so.
Oh, yeah, October 6th. October 6th. Sorry, I can jump on Outlook real quick. It just might take a second.
Yeah, I'll have to do the same. I'll have to do the same here.
It's okay.
1 second here.
Anyone wants it? I have it here.
This is the new plan?
This is today's plan, yep.
I can try to share it. If you want to give me access, Becky.
I'm in my email right now, so
You there now?
I'll find
All
it.
right, thank
Yeah. Thanks for
you
looking.
very much.
Why don't you search
I don't see that right here for the
Oh,
search.
okay.
It's different.
When did it come in?
Okay. Here's that.
Revised plan. DGM.
That was probably, it was
Yeah, I didn't see because you just emailed tonight, so it put it first. I was looking for Scott's
Really
email.
Steve, right?
It's new people now, right?
Let me close these reminders.
You guys.
All right, that's the report. And
that should be it.
Okay. I'm just trying to reconcile between,
Here we
Hey,
go.
Lenny, they forged your name on this plan. They put your name on this plan.
Here we go.
Is Lenny in the
oh,
audience?
yeah, he's here too. Yep, yep.
Oh, great. Fantastic.
And everybody.
The gang's all here.
All right, I'm gonna leave it kind of. Oh, that's actually way too
Yeah.
zoomed in for us.
If either
So.
of you want to speak, you have to go sit at that table because they won't pick you up on the mic.
Oh yeah, he's gonna go over it. Yeah. Yep. All right. Just want to check. You guys can see the shared screen. Is that all set for you?
I
Scott?
can.
You're good. Okay. All right, Scott. Yeah, if you want to go ahead, you can begin.
Sure. I'll start. So Scott Jordan from Ecotech, representing the applicant. I guess David and Lenny are there. That's great. Yeah, so the project is a single-family home project. Oh, I love this. There we go. Single-family home project. This was actually 2 lots or 4 lots, Lenny? Well, it's actually 4 lots. But it was 4 lots that are being combined to build just one house. As you can see in the eastern part of the site, the front of the site along Cedar Street, there is a bordering vegetated wetland. There is, fortunately, upland access to the south from Cedar Street. There's an existing cart path there, which we will utilize to access the site. So there will be no impacts to wetlands. We'll propose a 10-foot wide paved driveway along that cart path up into the upland area of the site. Our limited work is shown in yellow on this plan. So we're keeping it pretty tight. Not much lawn proposed, just enough area really for David to get his machines around to construct the septic and the house and the driveway. As Becky said, this is a revised plan, and we scrambled to get this done. This has incorporated a lot of Becky's comments and the Conservation Commission comments from our site walk, such as we're showing a snow storage area just below the driveway. We are doing stormwater management. We're infiltrating the roof into StormTech chambers. And we're providing stormwater management of the driveway. There's a couple little upland areas along the driveway where we're able to get in some stone line trenches for some infiltration and filtering of any runoff from the driveway. During construction, we'll utilize sill fence and straw wattles along the limit of work. We have a construction apron out front.
I didn't know there was another one there.
Excuse me?
Oh, sorry. I was being a disruption. Go ahead.
He hates it when you ignore him.
We're proposing to install signage along the limit of work on posts. We've included some language in our project narrative that we submitted wetland area, no mowing, cutting, construction, filling, application of chemicals or dredging allowed. So we'll install some posts of no more than 50 feet apart and demarcate that limit of work to prevent future encroachment or dumping, etc. We're proposing to stabilize the slopes of the septic system with bonded fiber matrix hydroseed, which is really good stuff that even if nothing germinates, it'll protect the soil for about a year. Or we have an option, or we can do seed and blankets, or even sod. So we'll take the stabilization of the slope seriously, and we have no structures within 50, and we have no work within the 25, with the exception, of course, of the driveway, which is where we have to access, and of course we're within 25 there. And that was all I had. I didn't know if you, David or Lenny, had anything to contribute.
I suppose I could add a couple things that what actually took place is that the septic system was originally designed to go in a westerly area which was closer to the slope, which required a lot of excavation and a lot of slope disturbance. What it is we relocated the septic system in an easterly direction, which is now gravity fed, and it's the grading and everything is all beyond 100 feet from the bordering vegetated wetland in the westerly portion. So it's a well protected, and the thing is, it's all gravity fed, so there shouldn't be any problem. The septic system is a 1,500 gallon 2-compartment tank, which will feed into the system, so it should be perfectly fine. The tracking pad, which comes immediately adjacent to Cedar Street, is actually 10 feet wide, roughly 30 feet going into the property. It's roughly 6 inches deep, and it's got 3-inch to 5-inch stone in that area for the tracking pad going on to Cedar Street. The areas that are on the south side and the north side of the road itself are actually areas to catch all the water running off of the driveway into those two areas there, which would be contained. Also, going basically on the south side of the house is an area that's double hay baled and not hay baled, but wattled and silt fence around the area immediately south of the building where to be storage that would be taken from there and removed from the site. So that is protected. So the site's totally protected. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
All right, so just so board members know, they knew that they, missed the deadline, but since they were working to address the concerns and wanted to present something just to get comments at this point, to see if there's any other revisions they should be looking at to move forward. So that's why we have that on here, and you didn't have this in advance. So, recommend providing some feedback if there's any other things you'd be looking for on here. I think they've done a good job to work to address the comments that we gave them on the site visit and since then. And right, one of them was really looking at tightening the limit of work and then looking at maybe trying to shift the septic system because it was further on the slope, which required a lot more grading going down towards the intermittent stream and bordering vegetated wetland. So I think that's a good improvement. Plus with doing the signage, straighter lines with those developed areas are beneficial there. So I think they've worked to really address that, and happy to see the revisions that they've made. Along the driveway, we did ask what you could do to kind of manage for stormwater out there. I would just ask if, because this was all wetland at one time, will having those kind of basins, the stormwater basins there, will we have enough depth of groundwater? Are there going to be concerns there? You know, thinking about in the future for, you know, actually doing the management there, are they going to kind of turn into bodies of water there? So I just ask that you look at that together to make sure that that's something that can function. And then with the driveway, there should be some notes about how the driveway will be graded to make sure that stormwater gets to them in the future. So when you know, whoever's going out there and going to be paving this, we make sure they do it right. We don't have a concern about that down the road. So those are the comments that I had after I took a quick look at it today.
Okay, Eric, any?
So the no dumping signage and whatnot, just the declarative statements at the back of the property, is that on this plan? So I'm not seeing it.
They didn't put that on here where they'd be putting it. It's in a narrative they sent.
Okay.
But right, maybe there should be some clarification. Where does the commission want those? On both sides of the developed yard area, or not? Do you feel that they need to be along the driveway? We can give them that feedback.
I'm less concerned about the driveway because I don't see a resident wanting to put that stuff on the side of their driveway, but towards the back of the property, that's where I'd be concerned. So if we could just get it added to the plan, just so it's on there, it's clear, it's stated, and we have it, then, you know, I appreciate the amount of work that must have gone into addressing the comments that we had on site. So I appreciate that, guys. No, I'm good right now.
I'm good.
If I may, I can jump in. That's a great thought. Would you like to see like an icon on the plan at the sign locations, or just a note stating this sign goes every 50 feet at the limit of work?
I personally would be fine with either as long as it's on the plan, but other members may have a different opinion.
Well, is the yellow line the limit of work?
The yellow
Yes.
line's the limit of the work, that's
So
correct.
we wouldn't be dumping outside the limit of work, or we'd be doing work outside the limit of work?
Absolutely not.
Okay. Makes sense.
I think that all they should do is not put icons on the map, because that limits where they can put these. Depends upon the ground surface that they're working with, in order to be able to put the signage where it's going to last the longest. But I also have a couple of questions.
All right.
Time for questions,
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman. Question number one, the driveway, what is the actual width of the driveway going to be? I
10
heard the
feet,
10 foot.
10 foot,
No, what is the actual width going to be?
10 foot.
Because you always have a side on each side to the driveway.
What
is the
it
actual
is-
width going to be?
Let me explain what it is. If you look at the contours, basically after 30 feet from Cedar Street going in is basically flat from there to the, almost the immediate access to the building on the westerly portion. So the road itself will have to be crowned to slope both north and south, and that's why you have the drainage catchment both north and south, which is located. So the stone trenching that's going to be on the side of the road going into these swales would catch all the water in that area.
So the stone trenching that will be on the side of the road becomes part of the road construction.
Which
What
is
is the overall width of the road going to be?
which is an integral part of the road itself, yes.
No, Lenny,
Yeah,
if you have these stone trenches on the sides of the road, they have a width to them. I'm asking what the total width, evidently from stone edge to stone edge is, including the roadway.
we're maybe talking, if you went with that, you might be talking an extra foot total, which maybe be 6 inches on both sides of the road.
6 inches is going to take care of the water that's going to come down on the road?
Absolutely, because we're only draining the road, which is 10 feet wide. We have, it can catch that no problem at all. If you take the trench with the stone, you're ending up with a 50% void ratio. And even if you make the trench 6 inches, you got 3 inches of rain that could take within that trench of rainstorm, which is only within 5 feet of the road, which is nothing. So it'll work very fine.
Okay. What is the makeup of that roadway, Lenny, when you enter the 25-foot no-touch zone?
What
What
is
is the
it?
ground going to be?
It's basically class 3 soil. It's very low percolation rate. The groundwater within the site, obviously because of the wetlands on the north and south, is basically at surface. I don't know what you'd want to say. If you look at the system that's being put in there, it's a very large system to accommodate the building itself, and that's because of the water table. The water table fluctuates between between maybe 12 holes that we dug. It ranges roughly from 30 inches to 40 inches. So the water table is between 2.5 to 2 feet to the surface. So it's very tight. There's no question about it.
Yeah. My next question has to do with the silt fencing and the wattles. In a wetland area, is it necessary to put in silt fencing, which you have to dig for? Can't you put in something other than that, like double up on these,
recommended initially on this initial submittal was to go with the wattles only without the silt fence, mainly because of the destructive feature of the silt fence. But I got a rebuttal from that said you wanted the silt fence. For what degree, for what purpose, I don't know, other than the fact that they wanted it. I would still recommend going with the 12-inch wattle period without the silt fence. If you look at the design of the field itself, the grading, it's all over 100 feet from the bordering wetland on the westerly portion. And to see that why I need a silt fence after I'm over 100 feet from the bordering vegetated wetland, I can't see it. But
Well, originally you weren't, and that's why we mentioned on site was doing extra erosion controls because you were working further down on the slope and increasing the slope. I mean, especially if they start this project in the winter, I think it's advisable, at least on the backside, to have it. It might not be necessary on the rest, but with the frost and thaws we have here in the winter and the rain events, if they're working in the winter, then I like to see it when I have to go out and check these sites. It's an extra layer of protection, but it's up to the board. I don't think it's necessary on the whole limit of work.
I guess one of the reasons I'm having a problem with it, besides the normal reason of not wanting to dig a trench, is that means that the stakes going through the hay bales are going to be within 5 to 10 inches of the water. Because Lenny just said that you only got about 2 feet from the soil top in order to hit water.
You're talking about along the roadway?
no, on the bank itself, you've got roughly 30 inches to 40 inches to the water table. And the silt fence, if you're putting it in correctly, it would only penetrate approximately 3 inches.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? Lenny, what did they do? Did they pull the white pipes that were all along the back out of there?
They haven't touched anything since we've been there. Obviously, when we're doing the field and everything, we would be taking out all the pipes out of there.
Yeah, what were those pipes for?
I have no idea. I don't know. I did see quite a few of them, though,
Yeah.
here and there.
Is there a culvert here?
Yes, there is. Up from where your dot is, just to the right, about 15 to 20 feet. If you look at the construction portion, which is 30 feet, and then the drainage between the south and north is about in the middle. There's a culvert right
You have a
there.
clicker right there, can you just,
Okay, the culvert is,
Other way.
doesn't want to cooperate. I had it right, I'll try it again. The culvert's right there.
okay.
Is there one over here, Lenny, too?
Where?
Up higher? Over on,
There's one right off of, there's one up here, right, up here you can't see, but there's one over there on lot 7.
there water sitting in those culverts or around those culverts?
Basically, yes.
Yeah, but they're, okay. What? The
They're
audience?
saying,
What?
right, move it along. I mean, this plan
you're
was
right.
only recently presented. All right, is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on the notice of intent for 231 and 233 Cedar Street or on go-to meeting? Moving on here.
All right.
Thanks. Want to continue to the next meeting?
Yep. Lenny, you want a continuation? Yes, you do.
I respectfully request a continuance to the next meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Make a motion to approve the request until the October 27th meeting?
Yep. Meeting starts at 7 o'clock.
Where
6
Bishop,
o'clock.
second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Where Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor?
David Barnacle in favor.
All right. Thanks, Lenny.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Now we're on Lad Road.
Yeah.
5 Lad Road, notice of intent. After the fact driveway expansion. 300-1140.
Come on down. It's kind of like the Price is Right.
Okay. I'm just gonna pull up the plan.
Photos.
Oh, probably didn't scan his plan. No, I did scan it.
Copy of what? No, I plan.
Where?
One more. Above checks.
Copy checks. Oh.
That.
All right, so this is a, I'll just start and give a quick summary here. So this is a hearing that was continued from one of our last meetings, I believe in September. The hearing is for an after-the-fact filing for a notice of intent for a driveway expansion project. The property owner wasn't aware of the wetland rules, new to the area and new to being a homeowner. So what we were able to do is work with him and find old plans from when this project was done, relocate the wetland line out there, and develop kind of a sketch over this plan to bring in front of the commission to show. You can see here, the black is where the driveway expansion occurred. It was all within a limit of work that was previously approved when they developed this property back in the 90s, but had really kind of grown in along the edges there, not sure exactly how they did work over there. So we expanded the driveway out and then also built up on an existing rock wall out there. We went out there and took a look at it a while ago. Asked him to come back, came in, talked to the board, talked about a couple different options of what to do out there. With the notice of intent, he had asked for some different options for the driveway surface. He would remove the millings, he'd like to pave it, but unsure, needs to figure out if that's something that he can do there. If not, the other options would include loaming and seeding for a lawn or doing like a 3/4 inch crushed stone driveway. I think
Just on the side. I'll keep the,
so. He also included, you can see where we show the new wall here and the blue dots there, as shown below, are he would plant native shrubs to kind of create a screen along the side there. Lorenzo, I don't know if there's anything else you want to add. Just going to say your name for the record.
Lorenzo Monaco. No, not really adding anything to it. I would like to finish it and pave it. The time schedule, I don't really know when I would, but my ultimate goal would be, I think, the best to pave it, if I can. I mean, I was gonna do crushed stone, but then I was thinking plowing and all that, it'd probably be a hassle. I'm okay with doing the grass, but yeah, I would prefer, paving it if I could.
Colin, all right? No?
So, remind me, like, where are we, I can't remember exactly the distance from the wetlands, can you show me the buffer zones and the distance and all of that on here?
So resource area line is shown here, and
Yeah.
kind of pulls in here. This is an older plan, so we don't have the buffers on it, except for the 100-foot, which is out here. So, we did put a line here, it was about 30 feet here, which is like the closest point of the driveway from about where the wetland line was out there.
Okay. And what was there prior to the expansion?
Grass.
So where was the driveway or the access to
The
property?
driveway was basically like right here. Yeah.
Yeah, it was just over a little bit more, and he expanded it to include this area. So this isn't the whole driveway, there is driveway over here. It's just expanded to incorporate this area.
Oh, okay, I gotcha. So we're outside of the 25, but we're within the 50, is what you're saying.
Inside, yeah.
Yeah, and it is, you can see on the plan, the old hay bale line here.
Yeah.
So it's consistent with what was previously approved, and like I said, there was a wall out there.
I believe this is I don't know if that's acting as the old wall.
I
That
think on the
little
plan that shows
dotted.
the-
Yeah, I mean, and there's some areas where I moved the rocks probably like 8 inches. And that's more by my little shed over here. Actually over here, I don't even think I moved them. And then, yeah, as I go, it gets a little thicker here. And then, same thing over here. I probably moved it like 8 inches to a foot over here. Most of the vast, probably at most, I forget. Probably the most I moved it was probably close to 3 feet.
Any comments?
I'm just trying to think it out.
Well,
I'll pass the mic. I may have a question.
I think if you wanted to tar it, I'd have no problem with it.
Just,
I think the thing that I'm looking for, and I don't know about the other, is for you to figure out what you want, and then tell us what you want, and then do what you want, protecting the wetland, and so that it is finished.
yeah.
So that we're not, because we do run into a lot of situations where people are working in a continuum to make the wetland smaller.
Yeah,
It's a natural, so.
I got
That's
you.
what I would like to see.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
That's good.
David, you got any comments?
No, and I have nothing to vote on.
No, I know. You want something to vote on? Anybody have any more comments?
No, you know what? I think, do we have an idea of what the plantings, we have native shrubs, but, do we have an idea of what we should probably make some suggestions as to what we feel the plantings are, just to make sure that it conforms with what we need.
How I was gonna write it was native shrubs suitable for that area. That is an upland area up on there. We're up on top up there.
Okay.
And I mean, I would probably just, because people are having issues getting things, I don't know if that's still difficult at this time. You could probably just leave it open that once something is picked out to get approval from Conservation Department on that species, and put
Yeah.
it so it's native.
Yeah, just put guardrails on it. We don't need to be specific. Just put,
Right, that's,
yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, I think I had that in there. Options for native shrubs provided to SEC for approval prior to install.
Okay.
The other thing, Lorenzo, that I personally don't like is the pavement, the ground pavement,
The millings?
the millings.
Yeah, I can get rid of those.
Those are,
I can get rid of those.
in that form, they're poisonous,
Yep.
so.
Yeah, I can take that right out. You know, I'm sure the paving company, if I do get it, they're gonna dig down anyway and get rid of that.
Yeah, just be aware of it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying go in there and dig it all out.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that don't use any more of it,
Yep.
and when you pave, cover it as much as you can.
Okay,
Because if you pave on the millings, they're fine.
okay. Understood.
So maybe just put on there to remove all millings that are not paved over.
Loose millings, yeah.
Loose, so, right.
Not used as
Okay.
base.
Yeah, not used as base. That, I think, yeah. If we put guardrails on the plantings and remove the millings that aren't as base, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah, I guess my only two questions is, the bushes, or the shrubs, native shrubs. What's like the, quantity, like, do you want it every 4 feet, every, yeah, how many shrubs do I need to put along that driveway? Just so I have an idea in the, future, and,
depends on what you put as far as what you want and how you
Okay.
want it, and how you want it to look.
well, let's just say,
Work with Becky on it.
Okay.
Figure out what you want to do. If you're gonna do like, hypothetical, mountain laurel, you're gonna pull mountain laurel and put it in there. You'd probably want to put a lot of it on it because it's slow growing and, some of it won't make it. But if you go in
Okay.
there with like arborvitaes or something like that,
Oh, we said native shrubs, so.
oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't-
Do you want to give them, we put 12 dots on this plan, you could say 12 for that span, it's
Yeah,
over 100 feet long.
Yeah.
That might be a good, every 10 feet,
Mhm.
something like
Okay.
that. I think it's better to just figure that out now, so when I go out down the road or somebody else, it's not, well, I want to do every, not saying you, but 20 feet. It's just
Yeah.
better to have
what do you,
something.
Lorenzo, what do you figure the length of the driveway is?
it's pretty close to 100, probably about 110.
So, 12.
12 bushes.
No, wait, Ed, we should not be saying that. We should suggest that he go to UMass Extension and talk with them, because each one of the different plants requires a different area. Well, a couple of the plants may require 3 or 4 feet, and a couple of them may require 6 inches.
Well,
It depends upon what he's going to plant.
So, I think we go back to the original suggestion, which is we put in the notes to work with the agent.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
if there's a disagreement, then you bring it back to us.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm comfortable with putting my faith in the agent to work with you guys, so we don't need to,
I agree with that.
you know.
And one last question, if I do decide to pave it, do I run it back, or do I just pave it?
I think you approve it with paving, and if that changes, come back.
Prove it with, and then,
Because that's good for 3 years.
and then when you do it, you'll
right?
have it done.
So you have 3 years to pave it. If you decide
Oh, that's
not,
perfect, yeah,
if
'cause
you
I'm not
if-
gonna do
if
it
you
this-
decide not to pave it,
Yeah.
then you'll need to come back to us with a change.
No, that's what I'll do, if I am gonna pave it.
Yeah.
It's just not gonna probably be this
All
year.
right, we've kind of boned it out. Do we have, anybody in the audience like to?
Anyone on go-to here that would like to comment on the 5 Lad Road notice of intent?
Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
Discussion, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of closing the public hearing?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor?
David Monaco in favor.
All right,
I'd like to make a motion with regards to 5 Lad Road, DP file number 300-1140, that we approve the expansion of the driveway to be paved with the native replacement planning plan that we had put in place and all standard with all standard conditions.
I'll second that.
any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor?
David Monaco in favor.
All right, thanks for coming in, Lorenzo.
Thank you.
Take it easy. All right, we are now at 16 Mount Dan Road, notice of intent, raise and rebuild of a lakefront home, DEP file number 300, 1135. Deborah Weber is the owner applicant, and Lenny Jalbert is the representative. How you doing, Lenny?
Good.
Back at it again, huh? You just won't leave Big Allen alone, will you?
I'm a glutton for punishment. I haven't been to Big Allen since this morning with Becky. I mean, when the conservation group, going over it with Tom Chamberlain. But anyway, what it is I'd like to, this is Leonard Jalbert, it's a continuation of the last hearing. There was a few questions that were brought up. One of the main ones I would think would be the questioning of the calculations relative to encroachment within the 50-foot setback between the existing and proposed. What it is that we put the differences between the existing and the proposed on the drawing, in that the existing house that's on the property presently is roughly 804 square feet, and the deck area is 164 square feet. And the proposed for the new addition is that there'd be 716 square feet for the new house, and the deck will be 192 square feet. The deck itself calculations would include the stairwells. The questions relative to the arithmetic coming up with the procedures, I've come up with the breakdown of the main house, the proposed house, the proposed within the 50, the main house within the 50, the deck and the stairs, and the calculations, all of it. And then plus I also added in the packet the layout of the existing house and the calculations to that, the layout of the proposed house and the calculations to that, so.
We don't have,
I don't have a copy of that.
You
we don't
what?
have that Word document that you have there. You gave us after we got the plan, he did submit this week a revised.
I realize that. I'll give it to you.
Okay, you can pass it to them, all right. He did revise the plan after we put everything up for you guys, that shows the, thank you.
There's one for you. See it.
You better give Eric his first, he doesn't like it if you don't give it. Yeah.
I just like math, Lenny, and I like making people do math. And my eyes they're not so good. So what I see here and what I see here are two different things.
Well, let's turn that page there. Let's make it easy. This here is the existing structure,
Yep.
okay? This is the new addition that's going on up above. This is outside the 50
Yeah.
feet.
Yeah.
And there's a 2-foot strip right in here. It's right in here, it calculates it what it is. Okay, if you turn this now, you've got all the breakdown of everything if you want to work it out.
Okay.
Okay? Okay, that was number one. Number two, I think the other question was relative to the tree removal and that, and we gave, I think you have the copy of the tree removal report, don't
Or
you?
before, yep, we had that before.
Now, does the board members have copies of the tree removal thing too, or?
Everything that was originally submitted was provided to them in the past, before that last public hearing. We talked
I have
about it.
broken it down that they can have that too.
Do you guys want a copy of the tree report? You had it before electronically.
No, I don't want it.
Eric, would you like a copy of the tree removal report?
If Becky's satisfied, I'm good.
I think we're okay.
We're okay with that? Okay. Okay, now the building plan itself, what it is the house is presently serviced with town sewer, and the lot itself is serviced by a private well, which what it does is it takes the lot and makes it non-conforming, which means that we have to go to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit because of the lot size on the property, which we will do after we get conservation approval. The well itself will be basically located still on the northerly side of the lot. The house itself is going to be moved southerly roughly 7 feet to go from the existing right now, which is at 16.2 feet, and then it's going to be going roughly down to basically 23 feet in the area. Then, excuse me, there'll be 16.2 feet once it's moved. Right now, it's only about 6 feet from the property line. It's basically the property, the house is being moved in a westerly direction from the existing foundation, approximately 2 feet closer to the Mount Dan Road, and it's the frontage now on the lot itself is going to be 25.7 feet from the water line, where right now it's actually at 24.2 feet. The trees and everything that are going in, there's a list of the planting schedule, which is located on the drawing itself, which shows you the trees and everything that would be placed on the site. And then the drainage itself, there'll be Caltex for the building, which will be on the both north and south sides, connecting basically to a outfall, which is a runoff from a catch basin located at Mount Dan Road. The catch basin itself, swale, there'll be check dams placed in 4 locations on the swale itself, basically to catch any sediment that's in the catch basin or the property itself before it enters the lake itself. So there's a detail of the catch basin dam detail, which is on the drawing itself. And there's also 2 access ways that are going into the lake. They're actually 4 feet wide, which they're steps with handrails on it. The reason is that the people who own the house, the 3 girls, that they're elderly, and the last time they tried to get in the water, they fell in the water, and they want the stairwells there to have the handrails to get in the water without falling in. So that's what they're for. The thing has gone to DEP for answers. Right now, haven't received anything to the affirmative or negative of what's going to be said, and we have to wait for their answer under Chapter 91. Any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Eric, what do you say?
So I feel like you feel like I put you through a math equation for no reason. I mean, the reality is, if we just kept it within the existing footprint, I wouldn't need to do any of this. And now it comes down to us, needing to weigh what is practical and reasonable against precedent setting, right? So that's. I'm happy that my lying eyes did not were not validated with what I was perceiving as an expansion of the footprint within the 50 foot. but it doesn't change, it doesn't necessarily change the fact that there's going to be additional disturbance within the 50-foot in order to allow for this change in footprint, which is part of the reason, and probably the majority of the reason for not allowing anything within 50 foot to begin with. So, thank you for doing the math that puts that to rest a little bit in my head. But you have to understand that this isn't just a simple decision for us, because there are constantly changes like this put in front of us, and we have to be careful to treat everybody equally and reasonably, right? And what may seem like a small difference can have big ripple effects down the road. So, thank you for doing the math. I'm good with my comments.
I'd like to make one thing emphatically clear. We would have no reason to move the building that's 6 or 7 feet in a southerly direction if it wasn't for the girls who own the house would like it further from their property line. That's what it's being done for. But it's staying within the same area, the space. But it was shifted like that distance mainly because they wanted more clearance between the side of the house and the property line.
I get it, but the reasoning and the motivation behind it still establishes precedent, and you know that precedent
I know where you're coming from.
is important, right? I mean,
I know.
And you know that my position is I want to treat everybody fairly and reasonably, and apply this amicably. I get it, but it doesn't change the fact that we're going to be in a situation where it's going to require additional excavation within the 50 foot to make this happen, regardless of what we're trying to accomplish here. So, okay, I'm good. I'm not good, but I'm good.
Roy? Lenny, could you walk me through this document? Could you walk me through this document just a little bit? I'm trying to rationalize the first page where it says house in 50-foot zone, and you get 716 square feet.
700?
Yep, first page.
Okay, that's the proposed house.
Right, so if I flip the page and I go to the bottom, I see existing house at 814, proposed house at 749, inside the 50-foot buffer. I'm trying to rationalize where that 716 is versus the 814, 749 on the second page.
The thing is, the 716 is the portion of the house that is within the 50-foot envelope.
Okay, but if I look at the second page, I see the building within the 50-foot buffer. I don't see 716, I see 814, I see 749.
749. Oh, that's the proposed houses. That is nothing. That's the proposed house. But the thing is, in the first page, that's the part of the house is the 716 feet is the portion of the house within the 50-foot envelope. But the actual house itself, okay, it comes out to 749 square feet, which with the deck is 1,024 square feet. You're working with apples and bananas here, okay? Where you got the house itself, which is one entity, and then you got the encroachment on the 50, which is another one. So that's why the 716 and the 804, those are the two figures that are within the 50 feet. And it actually ending up with the proposed house is going to be 88 square feet less in the 50-foot zone than the existing house.
Okay, Lenny,
It's the new math, it's killing all.
the new math, they'll get to it. Okay, first of all, Lenny, when did you give up on the 100 feet?
The 100 feet. what-
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about 25 feet and you're talking about 50 feet. This is all in the 100-foot zone.
I'm
on a
fully
lake.
aware- I'm aware of that, yes.
Okay, so on the lake, you're putting a house that is 250 square feet larger than the house that's presently there, just on the ground, right?
Correct. You're going actually, we're going to go from, the coverage right now is, let's see, 6.06%, and right now, when they go in with.
Lenny, I'm not interested in the percentage of coverage, I'm talking about,
Okay.
I'm talking about the
Okay,
Wetland Protection
It's going to
Act.
be, the new house with the deck and everything will be one,
Right here, 1,024 square feet.
Well, that's the house.
That's the house, and the new one,
With the deck would be, in the other front, and it comes out to be 1,518 square feet.
oh, you're gonna add a 500-foot deck on the existing house?
No,
On the new one?
No, you're putting, the proposed deck and stairs is 192 square feet on the new house, and the proposed entry in the front is 52 square feet.
Let me read these to you, and then you can
Okay.
speak. Area of the existing house, 1,024 square feet. Area of proposed house, 1,274 square feet.
That is correct.
Okay, so you're increasing it by a considerable percentage within the 100-foot buffer zone,
Within the 100, yes.
okay? So what you're piecemealing, and then you go down and you say, existing house is 1,814 square feet, and the new house is going to be 749 square feet in the 50-foot buffer zone, right?
Yes.
Okay. So really, you're not using grandfathering at all here. You're saying you're just going to tear down a house and put up a house.
I can, correct.
Yeah, okay. I don't have any more questions. David?
I had similar questions to you, Ed, but I can understand that we're not going to get a different answer. We also have not considered any trees that are being cut in order to take care of the new house. How many of those big trees are coming down, Lenny?
There was, I think, roughly 11.
So that also is a sacrifice within the 50-foot buffer zone. So essentially, what we need to have answered is the question that the chairman asked at the very beginning. What happened to the 50-foot buffer zone?
David, the trees are outside the 50, but they're within the 100.
Some of them are.
Okay,
It's a mix,
Thanks, Eric.
yeah.
I can't be in favor of something that arbitrarily increases the footprint inside the 50-foot buffer zone.
It's not increasing it, it's actually decreasing it. You actually have 88 square feet less on that house within the 50-foot zone as you did previously.
All right, this is,
Nowhere.
you should have gotten this to us sooner. I don't know. You want to vote on this now?
Well, we should probably let the public speak.
Oh, yeah, okay, yep, good, yep.
Go ahead.
Do I need to go over there?
Yeah.
Tell them who you are. Yep. Good evening. My name is Bob Havlis. I'm the architect for the Sisters on this property. And so one of the things we did really take into consideration was the fact of the original house, of the size and its shape. We actually documented that, and that was been clearly demarked and shown on the original drawings that were submitted here, along with the proposed expansion of the house and its relocation. There's a couple things that I would like to point out. If we could just put the, sorry about that.
Sorry, I was just gonna.
So I'm new here. Yep, okay, it works. So orientation-wise, so I think one of the major things that seems to be getting lost here is that, is this mic active? Okay. So is that what we're trying to do is not enlarge, and as Lenny said, we actually, in the 50-foot buffer, has actually made it less. So if I was to take this marker right here, and I'm following all the red lines, that is the original house. That's what we wanted to try to copy. In a sense, we did. The black line is right here. If you look at the shape, yes, it's very close, and we actually moved it away from the water line by about a foot or two. I forget what exactly it is. And yes, it does extend down here into the 50 buffer. However, we were trading out and actually doing less construction because over here, next to this property line, which is very close to the property line, we're actually improving the site, not making it worse. This is in the 50-foot buffer, but we're trading that, and we're just putting it over here. Yes, there's some expansion out this way too, but that's away from the water line. It's on the high side. It's, it's outside the buffer, but going back to the point of 100, yes, it is within the 100-foot buffer. The other thing I would like to point out is that there are natural geographic rock formations that exist on this.
Sorry.
Them, you don't have a microphone.
I am.
No, you don't, right there.
To what to said to do
Get out
over
of here.
here.
Wait a minute. Oh, you're off. That's why it's
Dave
speaker.
Brunel, can you mute yourself?
Right here. Right there.
That's the things that were added.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, nothing is coming through.
Yeah, no problem.
Just,
All right.
Dave?
There you go, sorry.
That's all right.
David, can you hear me?
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't. We stopped.
That was interference from a conversation of someone that's waiting for another
Hearing.
hearing.
Go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, it's quite all right. So what I want to point out is that there are some natural geographic structures here, some boulders, actually. It's right next to this existing house right here. There's another one over here, and I believe there's one more right over here. Part of this is we're trying to stay away from those, so when we reconstruct, we can actually put the foundation, not have to, trying to move it away from those natural boulders. We don't know how big they are, but we're trying to move it away. So we are improving the site here. And again, yes, we are expanding it here, but we're taking what is in the 50-foot buffer here and actually putting it over here. It's a little less. You're going to disturb this area, any area, you're going to disturb it just to get construction for any of this. We're rebuilding on the same footprint to put a foundation in. You're going to disturb the 50-foot buffer for a bit. So, to move this and improve the lot by moving this over and doing a little addition in the front, I don't see how we're setting a precedent. We are actually improving the situation on the lot.
Is that you, Dave?
No.
Marion.
No?
Muted.
Eric, any comments?
No, I mean, I get the rationale, I do. But it doesn't change that there's going to be additional impact and excavation and work that's going to be done within the 50 foot. Whereas if we just you would make it very easy on us if we just use the existing footprint and knock it down and put it back up right in the exact same spot, and then we don't have any of these complications. It may seem like a very small thing, but it's not a very small thing, right? It is,
Well,
you can say it's not precedent setting, but it's precedent setting.
Anything? Nope.
If you'd like to speak up, I don't.
You've been to the site, right?
Yeah.
Josh Catone. I'm gonna be hopefully the builder on the project. Do you know the rock that's in the corner?
It's not, I'm not from.
Josh, have you ever been to Big Allen?
Yes, I have.
Have you ever been to anybody's house on Big Allen?
Yes, I have.
Have they have any rocks in the yard?
I live in Sturbridge. I know the whole town is full of rocks.
Okay, all right.
But I'm just
Rocks,
saying
this
there's gonna
isn't
be-
National
we're trying-
Geographic.
I understand. We're trying to move the house away from that boulder because if we leave it, if
I
we say
understand.
we're gonna leave it
Right.
there and we have to pull that boulder out, it could be a bigger disturbance
Let me give
towards
you
the water. That's what we're trying to
A
do.
simple logical explanation. You're at 1,074, is that the number? I'll go back to it, okay?
The square footage, yes.
Yeah, 1,074. If you brought the plan in at 1,074, we wouldn't have this conversation.
Okay, so 1,074 is.
Is
we stayed with
is
the same
270, 250 square feet less, okay? It doesn't have anything to do with that rock.
Moved over?
Yeah, and moved over, yeah. It doesn't have anything to do with that rock.
That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. So if.
We're not asking you, we have a bylaw. Look, I'm not gonna,
Let me respond to that comment.
no, sit down. You don't say it doesn't make any sense. Sit down. Oh, you're not gonna respond to it. We're gonna go through the process. A retort like it doesn't make any sense just puts you out.
Excuse me, sir, and I apologize for that. I just want to explain why, if we're to use the same footprint that you had just requested,
Right,
and you just said that he could be allowed to move it over,
right.
well, we're still disturbing it in the 50-foot.
Ask,
Different commissioners have
yeah,
different opinions on
different,
different things.
but the other,
Okay, well, that's why I wanted to just give my explanation.
and let me ask you a question. If you took that 275 square feet and put it on every single house on the lake, you would be creating a great deal of damage.
And there's no, and you haven't had any other houses on this lake expand.
We have parameters that we're going by. You seen, and that's what we're talking about here.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to move the motion, since there hasn't been a motion made.
Well, we got to hear from, have we heard from the entire audience?
No, we didn't ask. If there's anyone on GoToMeeting who would like to speak, we do have the property owners on here too.
Yeah. You mute.
There you go.
There we go.
They'll vote it down.
Okay, so let me.
Oh, we still can't hear you. If your volume, your mic there on the computer.
No. All right, we've heard from the audience. I mean,
We can't hear.
there we go.
Oh, that's David.
David, you want to make a motion?
But the owners want to have a comment.
Right, but I think they're calling in on the phone line because they can't speak on their computer, but I don't see them on here.
There's no caller.
Yeah, it's not showing you have a caller on here. Did you put like the access code in? And you didn't put the access code in? Okay. You're calling right now. Maybe that's what it is. They're calling right now, I think.
Let's see what they have to say. Okay, we should end up doing a continuance anyhow, but let's see if they get in first.
Oh, the girls.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're good.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey,
I guess the one thing we're really wanting to understand is, number one, in regards to our property, of course, it's a generational property, and our families have stewarded that property for 100 years. And literally. And as you see, we haven't taken all the giant steps so many people around the lake did, where they changed their ground to grass and did all this kind of thing. We're just trying to accommodate our family. There's three families, and my mother was single when she built it, and built it for basically 3 children, and that was it. And we're trying to do 3 systems. So we're trying to do the best. We totally understand the envelope thing. We've been working hard with Bob and Josh and Lenny to try to accommodate staying on that envelope as best we can. But also, I mean, if you hadn't been to our property, I mean, it's not like we've got a flat lot. We have to go down 13 to 15 stairs to get down to where the house begins. And so we felt that if there was anything we could do to help pick up space, it would be to utilize that kind of sad area between the road and the back of the house, which is going to be disturbed anyway with all the buildings and all the equipment that's got to try to get down that hill. And even to the one side of the house, where there was a well put in, it's all disturbed property as it is right now as well. So I just want you to realize that we're doing our best to try to stay within your confines, but yet, I mean, we are needing it to, we need to figure out how to do it. We've even chopped the whole floor off this thing in order to try to accommodate the growing expenses that are going on right now with the, with even building a house. So I just want you to know that, like,
also regarding the trees, I mean, most of the trees that are coming out are between the road and the house, which would need to come out so that we can build the foundation of the house. We have a landscape plan that's there that's showing the new trees that are going in that are going to be replaced as soon as we take those other trees out, so that we can continue to have the natural look around the house. We're not trying to make this a fancy, huge house. We just want something that we can all live in, because right now we can't. And we were trying to move it over a little bit just because we have a lot of property on the other side of the land. And we do have those rocks and boulders that we're trying to work around. So we are trying to move a little further over. We understand the planning committee would like that, but I don't know. So we're trying to please everyone, but also just give ourselves a little bit more room, because we have a pretty tiny place. And it's not a lot, and it's between the road and the house. That's all I have to say. Sue, do you have anything?
Well, other than our percentage coverage on the property is only 7%, and I know we can go up to 15%. So I think that really goes to how small this property is. Well, the house is small. If you look at the square footage and compare it to pretty much anybody else's house, that's a small footprint.
Okay. Anybody else like to speak?
And we did, the reason we moved it, as I think Debbie said, away from the property line was, since we were going to have to dig a foundation and everything anyway, we thought we should, pay attention to the setbacks and kind of be a good neighbor to our next door neighbor, who is also fairly close to the property line. So it was, if we don't do it now, obviously we're not going to do it later. So it was one of those things we felt was better addressed at this time.
Well, and actually what caused that problem was the house was originally a guest room for our bigger home next door. And so they didn't care about how close it was between the 2 lots, because, of course, the same family.
It wasn't even 2 lots.
Yeah. So that's why that's kind of odd and piece there. But anyway, we are, again, we're trying to meet what you need us to do, but we got to kind of help ourselves a little bit in this thing.
Well, it's going to be 3 stories, right? Basement, main.
Yes, sir.
No,
Yes,
we
sir.
changed it to 2 stories.
You changed
Yeah,
it
we
to
had to take a whole floor off so we
We
could
took
afford
the
it.
3rd story out. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, being it's on a slope, we're doing a walkout basement and main level, and then just attic space under the roof.
Yeah.
That's it.
You are correct. Originally, it was that. That was the intent. But considering all the costs and everything, dealing even, with the terrain that is there, those all add up. So we needed to redesign.
All right, Lenny, you want to leave it the way it is? You want a continuation to consider?
I'm too young to die. I request a continuance.
I don't know about the first sentence, but the second one's okay.
The second one, request a continuance.
Until the 27th, Lenny?
The 27th, I won't be here. Can we go to the, I'd say maybe the first week in November? What was it? Is it the 7th or the 11th?
17th. I think it's October
Seven-
27th and November 17th.
November 17th, I'd say.
Motion for a continuation.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Debbie.
I just had a question. Why we needed to continue again? I mean, we're trying to get this done this winter, and it would sure be nice to just get this done.
Lenny
Lenny
has
should-
made the judgment that he may be able to fine tune this thing to the positive side, and he's made the judgment. That would be my guess. Lenny, you tell him why.
Yeah, why do you want to?
I'd say right now, the position of the board is such that it wouldn't pass the way it's presented.
So that's the answer.
And if they take the vote and decline, then you're starting all over again.
So the,
We don't want to start over again. We just aren't sure what we need to do from this point up.
motion to continue?
So moved.
Second that.
Any discussion on continuation, David? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor?
David Barkley in favor.
It is continued. Thanks, Lenny.
Thank you for your time.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
This stuff's my least favorite part of what we do.
We are now to 86 and 88 South Shore Drive. Continued notice of intent, raise and rebuild a single-family home. And it's, well,
Yeah.
Number 7.
We're actually,
oh, am I,
that one last, I'm sorry.
oh, okay, sorry.
The two photos and then.
All right, we're at 235 Podunk Road. Continued notice of intent, construction of a single-family home. DEP file number 300-1134. Owner is Dave Brunel. Representative is Marianne DePinto. 3 Oaks Environmental. Okay. All right. Becky?
On the screen? I'm virtual.
Yep, we'll switch that out. So,
Okay,
so
thank
while
you.
I'm getting this updated just quickly, this is a continued notice of intent for construction of a single-family house. It was continued. We had asked, they needed to submit plans that showed the wetland line. When we originally went out there for the site visit, the property wasn't staked out and the wetlands needed to be reflagged. There were some questions with the flagging. We did meet with them on site last week? Last week when we did our site visits. And, you know, the site was staked. Marianne had to reflag the site. So she did reflag the site since we last went out there. We did identify an area that we had some question about with the wetland flagging. She did submit a report substantiating. She did look at soils out there and didn't find hydric soils within the area that we had some questions about. So she's continued with the wetland line that they've presented. There's no work within the 100-foot. They did file this under the state act and the local bylaw. They were right at the 100-foot buffer from this, and they elected to submit it under both. So that's just a quick summary, Marianne. I'll let you kind of continue on with that if you like.
Okay, thank you. What did, with the state was that the wells are awful close to that 100 foot, and it's better be on the safe side to do that. And the project's been before you a couple of times, and we've been waiting for the perk testing to happen in the front, and it did. So all of the work moved further away from the wetland areas. The leach fields are now outside the 200 foot. And the homes are within 100 feet. And I did look closely at that wetland area. We were looking at the pits and mounds basically in the wetland, and there was some wetland vegetation in the depression area where I augured and couldn't get past 4 inches because of the rock. There's a fair amount of rock up. So I followed the general water flow towards the wetland, and I found a spot in that depression that I could auger almost 15 inches. And surprisingly, I got upland soils. I expected to see something, and potentially, because it appears to get wet on occasion, but apparently not long enough to develop hydric characteristics in the soil. And I did the data sheet. When you look at a 5-foot circle in an area, you can get wetland herbaceous plants, but you start looking at shrubs and trees, and as soon as you move out to that 15 and 30 feet, it's an upland plant community in general, even though there are a couple of winterberry hollies, like 25% was winterberry holly in that circle, and some red maple, but then there was sugar maple. So there's this balancing in that buffer between the upland and the wetland, that transition zone. But it was more than 50% upland vegetation.
Okay. Eric?
No, no questions.
No questions?
Mary Ann, are they marked now? The wetlands marked?
Yeah, yes, there was some errors in the flagging. I went back and took the flag numbers that we had previously on the plans, and the plans are now correct. They represent those flag numbers. I'd gone through not having in front of me what the numbers were, and I numbered them 1 to 10. I went back and numbered them 22 to 27 or 28, following the line that you see on the plan. If the entire plan is there, let me zoom out.
So we'll be able to go out there and look at those?
Excuse me?
We can go out and take a look at those? I mean, that's...
Oh, yeah.
I was surprised because when we went out, nothing was marked, nothing was numbered. That's not usually the way we do business.
They were marked, the flags were there, and they were marked with different numbers, but the flags are exactly the same. I just hung pink flags on the blue flags that were there. So the boundary didn't change. So what we were looking at is the boundary. It's just the numbers on the flags match the numbers on the plan now.
Okay.
The boundary didn't change.
All right.
Thank you.
Dave?
Dave?
No questions.
No. All right.
Public line?
Public line.
Is there anyone on GoToMeeting who would like to comment on the notice of intent for 235 Podunk Road? I do not see anyone who'd like to comment.
I do have a question with the notes about the certificates of compliance or the 4 open orders of conditions that we don't have certificates of compliance. Are we allowed to encumber one versus the other, or that's not legal, so therefore you're requesting the bond to ensure performance in the future? Which is, what are we?
So there's 4
There's 2
other...
separate items. I'm just trying to figure out how we're going to address one. Are we just hedging against?
The bond is a new policy.
For the new projects.
The
Yeah.
4 original projects.
Oh, that's,
Yeah, the four orders that are open, the local ones for the other ones, those projects have been built and properties have been conveyed. When the properties are done construction, right, they're supposed to, per the conditions in the permit, submit a request for certificate of compliance, so they need to do that. We now, our new policy that we changed this fiscal year is that we do require a bond on, new construction, and we require it for single-family houses, as well as commercial. So, and that, part of that is to make sure all the conditions are adhered to, including submitting a certificate of compliance, because people don't do that at the end of the projects. We still need those closed out for the other ones.
Okay, I'm just wondering if there are additional circumstances that we need to consider, considering we have 4 open items, and do we require additional bond on this to ensure that that does get done?
I don't think we can do that I'm aware of at this time.
Okay, that's
But we
fine.
do have him on here. We can ask him when his intent is to submit those.
Okay. David?
Yes.
Oh, not Barnacle, Brunel.
Yes.
Oh, okay, I did, I'm sorry, I thought that was Barnacle who said yes. With regards to the four open orders of conditions, what is your plan for getting those certificate of compliance?
Well, maybe I misunderstood in the past, but I thought I was gonna do them all at one time to save people time and energy and efforts. But I can do them now. I think think the property's stabilized. I think it'll be fine. I'll get that process going next week.
Okay, all right, no further questions. Motion to close the public hearing?
Second that?
Discussion? David?
No questions.
No questions? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor?
David Barnacle in favor.
With regards to DB file number 300-1134 at 235 Podunk Road, and make a motion to approve the application with the agent's notes.
I second that.
Don't we need a discussion here?
Yep, go ahead, we're gonna discuss it.
I thought you were asking questions of Mary Ann relative to having another site visit to verify the numerical data that is on the flags versus same data on the plan.
Yes, I was having that conversation, Dave.
So is it appropriate to close it?
Well, that's what the board brought forward. So I think we're we closed the public hearing.
To what end, David? I mean, I realize that, we trust but verify, but Mary Ann's a professional. She's been in front of us before. We have no reason to distrust her professionalism. And, to go out and just look and verify that the number on the pink flag matches the number on the blue flag. I mean, unless we're concerned about the validation, I don't know that we need to go back out there again, given that, she's attested to the request. But I mean, I'm just one person.
Well, to retort to that, if you'd gone out with me into the site and seen what was there, you wouldn't have been impressed. You would not have been impressed.
Okay.
What you say about Mary Ann is true. But she didn't perform on this site.
Okay.
Maybe she has now. I'm sure she has now. I'm almost positive she has, but that's the question.
We always have a condition in the permit too, one of our standard conditions, that is that all wetland flags must be still there. So if someone flags it and 2 years later they go out to start the project, those have to be rehung anyway, so we verify that when we do a pre-construction as well.
I think we Do it or we don't right now. Either we approve it or we, or we don't. If we approve it, they're gonna, then build on the house and we're gonna leave them alone.
Right. I'm just saying, that's part of a standard DEP condition that we include there too. So if something
Right.
happened and they weren't there, we can make sure they get put back up at that time.
Well, I mean, we have,
All right, any further discussion? Vote. David?
I thought we had a chain going. It was up to David.
No, we hadn't voted.
we have,
On-
You voted to
I thought you had
close.
a-
Close the public hearing.
He made a motion.
I did not vote.
You had a motion to approve. Did you make a motion?
I made a motion to approve.
And I
And
seconded
you
it.
seconded it, yeah, and then.
But I did not.
Yeah. We haven't,
Okay, I'll vote in
we
favor.
put it for
David Barnes
discussion,
in
we have
favor.
not had it up to vote.
Yeah,
David just voted in favor already.
okay.
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
All right. I am opposed. All right, now the next one. So that passes. How did you guys turn that around? Why did we?
Well, we knew
Change
we had a
that.
continuation. We thought we were gonna be on time, so we shifted it. but
Ah.
Officially posted the
We
agenda,
would've-
trying to be efficient
So I thought
here,
we'd be
but.
in-
37 Podunk Road, continued notice of intent, construction of a single-family home, DEP file number 300-1138.
Or
All right?
reviewed.
All right, so this is another property here that they presented, pretty similar to the last one. We were looking at it, we went out to the site visit, they asked for a continuation, they restaked, re-flagged after we went back out. All work is shown just at or outside the 100-foot buffer zone. It's being reviewed under the state and local bylaw.
Any discussion?
No, I'm good.
Hearing none, want to see if anybody outside?
Yeah, is there anyone on, I can get there. Anyone on go-to who would like to comment on 237 Podunk Road, notice of intent?
Hearing none, motion to close the public hearing.
So moved, Eric Gaspar.
Roy Bishop will second that.
Discussion, David?
None.
All right, hearing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor? David?
Not in favor.
No? All right, it passes. All right, now to the,
With regards to DEP file number 300-1138 at 237 Podunk Road, I'd like to make a motion to approve the application with the agent's notes and conditions.
I second that.
okay, any discussion? Seeing none?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin opposed?
Oh. Barnacle opposed.
All right, well, there's a conundrum there.
No, it isn't.
This is the problem.
Because it's different for the wetlands
Yeah.
protection and the bylaw.
So it's under the bylaw,
Well, under both, if it's a tie, it fails.
Okay.
yeah.
And
The problem is that we closed the public hearing.
Well, now you have to reapply.
Done, David. All right, what are we going to next? Failed.
And it's the South Shore Drive.
Oh, go back up to South Shore Drive?
Yeah.
If I can find it here, Podunk. South Shore Drive. All right, 86 and 88 South Shore Drive, notice of intent, raise and rebuild, single-family home and associated site work. DP file number 300-1127.
A written continuation request was received for this.
Okay, all
Until
right.
when?
November 17th.
To November 17th.
Okay.
Approve.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the continuation till November 17th.
I second that.
Any discussion?
Public? No?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Gooder in favor?
David Barton in favor.
All right. So now we are at Westwood Drive.
Yeah, we're gonna actually jump a little bit. We don't have anyone else on for those certificates of compliance. We're gonna go down to 100 Breakneck Road.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and we have Neil Jackson on here. He has been, I'll just give a quick overview of this. Neil Jackson is representing the property owner. What this is, let me just get to my notes here. We had this on a previous agenda for the board. This was a situation where I was notified that work occurred out on this property by DPW, went out there, noticed that tree clearing had occurred within what appeared to be jurisdiction based off the information we had from some previous projects that had been proposed there. So we had some information. Met the property owner out there. We issued a cease and desist. He said that he had obtained an engineer at that time to work on developing a plan for him that would be available within a few weeks. I requested that the tree line that was done, the clearing, be shown on that plan. He's now obtained Mr. Jackson here to work on this for him, and to date, he submitted for the last meeting that we had discussed this, an existing condition plan, and we now have also a proposal that I can put up of what they're proposing to do there. So I'll pull that up and I'll let Neil go into any more detail. This is not currently a project in front of you. Now that we have the proposed plan, I'll pull that up. But looking at it, looks like there's some work that would just occur within the 200, or did occur within the 200-foot buffer zone. And we can talk about how to move forward with this project at this time. My understanding is that they are planning on submitting a notice of intent for review soon.
Okay, you ready for me?
Yeah, I'm just pulling the plan up. Let me rotate it and share it. And share screen. No, it's just this corner that we need to look at, right? Well, I'm going to pull up the existing condition plan too, because I think that one's colored. Oh, wrong way. All right, Neil, can you see that?
I can.
Okay.
Kind of.
All right. So do you want to go over this plan, and then I can shift over to the septic one?
Sure. Hi, I'm Neil Jackson, J&P Engineering Services. I'm here representing Kevin Alangino for, I guess there's been an ongoing concern on this property. I was just hired about a month ago to take over for the engineer that was working on it, and really nothing was happening. So I talked to Becky, and she had asked to get an existing condition plan with topo on it, what had been cleared. So I did get that to her, I think a week or two ago. And she also asked to present a conceptual plan of what his intention was on the property. So I've also submitted that plan. I know there was some clearing on that property before he bought it. I came in after. I don't think any cutting has been done since I have been involved in the project, but he did say he did some selective cutting, not clear cutting, but some cordwood cutting within the 200 foot. But again, a lot of that area inside the green was, I believe, cut before he purchased the land. It was a logging landing area. So there shows a couple piles, a log pile and some wood pile and some mulch pile. So obviously plans on removing all that. So, yeah, so we're basically, the conceptual plan is to discuss and, any concerns or anything you need addressed. I'd like to know everything I can, just coming on board the project before I submit a final plan and a notice of intent.
So just so the board knows, we're looking at, right, there was a forest cutting plan out here before
Right.
he bought it. There's a driveway that came down and a landing area back here. That started to grow back in. I think the cutting was before I started here, so probably 6, 7, 8 years ago. So green is the created tree line. We've got, some work within 200 feet. Looks like we're outside the 100 foot there. So, just kind of looking at this corner up here, if you can see that. We've got the 200 foot buffer here. It looks like there'll be a barn. And then, the limit of work is just outside the 100 here and kind of straddles this way. So my comments on this is that just make sure that you're showing a complete limit of work line, especially associated over here where the septic in the yard is proposed. Just because we also have on the other side of that, there's some riverfront area.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay.
Yep, and even on the other side too. One suggestion, moving the barn and paddock area away from resource areas is advisable, just from manure and runoff. There's still about 100 foot buffer, but if there was an opportunity, it'd be better to have that further from the wetlands. Looking at this on the right-hand side of the house, I know he's got some upland area there, before the other house that's over there. Maybe there's some opportunity to kind of shift a little bit and maximize some of that space. I'm not sure. I know he's got proposed lot lines here, if that's an opportunity, but that would be advisable. And, I've mentioned this to the property owner before because he's kind of been slowly building houses on this property that, when he comes back, because he has riverfront area on the other side of this, that, how he's divided his property, if he has any plans in the future, he could have potentially created a hardship with future work on other areas in the property. So I think that's important just to keep in mind.
Okay. Neil? You all set?
Okay, well, yeah, I mean, the reason he's proposing the lot line where he is so he has actually 2 more lots between I think his in-laws house and then this proposed house. So he's trying to keep 2 lots cut out of that parcel also. So this lot is shifted, so no work will be done any closer to the riverfront area because this would basically be the last lot I believe you could even fit here because of the riverfront area. So you really couldn't work to the south anymore, really, on this parcel anyway.
Okay. Well, you know where your wetlands are, and you know what our setbacks are.
Yep.
Okay, good.
When do you think you're going to have that notice of intent submitted?
Whatever the deadline is, I'll have it ready. I think it's, just looked at it.
October 11th.
For the next meeting, was it the 19th?
October 11th is the deadline for the 27th, and then the next meeting we have is November 17th, and I don't have the deadline information in front of me for that one.
Okay.
Just touch base with us before, because we have a separate notice of intent application if you're only working in the local buffer zone and if you're not working within the state jurisdiction. So when you have a final plan, send it over and we can help you with that to make sure you're filing the correct application.
Okay, that's great.
Good.
All right, well, thanks for coming on.
Okay, thank you very much.
A question first.
Oh, sorry.
Absolutely, yeah.
Neil, is the property now, or has the property in the past in Chapter 61 property?
He doesn't know.
I don't know, and I don't believe so.
I don't
believe it was.
Came to the town for right of first refusal. It had a forest cutting plan, but
Yeah. Well, Neil would know. He's only been working for
Yeah.
him for a month.
Yeah, and, well, I do know a little history because I did a lot of perk tests on this property. It was owned by Palmer Paving, I believe, at one time, and then they sold it. They traded it. They traded all this land plus a big check for some land over that had a lot of gravel on it over in Palmer. So I know there's a lot of wetlands here. I worked down towards the dump trying to do perk tests, working for Sherman Frederick probably 4 or 5 years ago. So I am familiar with the property.
Okay, all right.
So I don't think Palmer Pavement had it in 61A.
One of the reasons asking the question is, how close to that body of water was he cutting?
When they did the forestry?
No, there's a body of water that's shown on the plan. And I'm just curious about how close to that body of water was he doing his cutting?
Well, that's a wetland. That's not a body of water.
Okay.
It's an isolated wetland. So I don't think he was within the 100, but I'm not sure.
Oh, okay. Very good.
He was cutting some cordwood. That's what he told me. So I don't think he was doing any clear cutting back there.
You would be amazed at what cordwood represents to some people.
I know. Well, it's for his personal use, so I don't know how ambitious he is to cut that much, but you have to be pretty ambitious.
All right, well, thanks for coming on, Neil.
Thanks, Neil.
Okay, thank you, and I'll get that plan ready. Thank you very much. I appreciate your help. Have a good night.
You too.
What's next, Beck?
All right, so we're gonna go back to our certificate of compliance requests. We have one for 104 Westwood Drive, DEP file number 300-1099. This project was completed last year. It was it's a lakefront lot. They did some repairs to a shoreline wall and did some work within the buffer zone, reducing a steep slope and doing some patios in there and landscape improvements. I went out, they had to do some plantings. I went out, the plantings are in, and they've met the growing season requirement that was on there. Recommend approval with a complete certificate of compliance with the perpetual conditions that were noted in the order, which are 45 through 47.
Good. Do I have a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the certificate of compliance for DEP file number 300-1099 with perpetual conditions 45, 46, and 47.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
None.
Hearing none.
Eric
All
Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
David Barnacle in favor.
All right, 17 Bennett.
This is another request for certificate of compliance, DEP file number 300-948. This one was a project that was done before I was here. It was a raise and rebuild on Lead Mine Pond. They had plantings they had to do, and there was a requirement for an as-built. And we had also received a letter of substantial compliance. I did go out. The plan shows the location of the required plantings. It was left to do a planting plan. So they weren't on the original plans. They were on that plan, and they were on site. So I recommend issue a complete certificate of compliance with perpetual special condition number 22.
I have a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for DEP file number 300-948 with perpetual condition number 22.
I second that. Roy Bishop.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
David Barnacle in favor.
96 Gladding Lane.
This is another request for a certificate of compliance. DEP file number 300-1125. This was a septic replacement that we approved this year. We received the letter of substantial compliance. I went out. Site was stabilized. I recommend that you approve the issuance of a complete certificate of compliance with the perpetual conditions 47 to 52. But they didn't give us the fee yet. They were waiting. It might be in transit. So I just recommend that you approve it, and we wait to actually issue it until we have that complete application with the fee.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to conditionally approve, upon receipt of the fee, the certificate of compliance for 96 Gladding Lane with the perpetual conditions of 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, and 52.
Do I have a second?
I second that.
Discussion.
Yes, one question suggestion. Becky, do you think that it would be appropriate when we're doing certificates of compliance like this, down in parentheses, whether it's for a closing or for a sale or not? Because sometimes we may have to do this in order to permit the real estate people to make the sale, because oftentimes the lawyers forget to go back and look to see if there's an order of conditions on the property.
So you want us to note it on the agenda if it's for a property sale?
Yes.
Oh,
And I'm saying that because if it's for a property sale and the people say, oh, it's supposed to close next week, we don't necessarily want to hold up the closing, especially if everything has been done. But sometimes it's like 3 weeks or a month between our meetings.
yeah, well, behind the scenes, a lot of these are for closings. So we have to work with the lawyers on these at that time. So we've usually worked with them, and if it's something that, you know, it's a very straightforward project and I can go out, if they've had a closing, I will write them a letter saying that I've received everything, I've reviewed it, appears to be in substantial compliance, and I would recommend approval. I would anticipate that the board would do that. You know, the next meeting isn't till so-and-so. So that way that's helpful sometimes for people to move forward with their closing. Sometimes what people do is they do holdbacks until the certificate is issued. Sometimes we come across ones where there's just issues because they haven't done the project as proposed and approved. So most of these are for real estate transactions, not on here today, but, well, 2 of them were related to real estate transactions. So, I mean, we work, like, what I'm getting at is we work that out with them behind the scenes, Dave. So.
Okay.
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor?
David Barnacle in favor.
All right. We are now to minutes. Motion to approve the minutes as drafted.
So moved?
Second?
Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
David Barnacle in favor.
All right. So now we have, Becky, you wanted to go to,
Business?
you want to talk about what next, Becky? 15?
Well, I think your numbers might be different. You're working off the old one. We can go to, well, you have committee
You give old
updates.
people a different,
I got the same one as you, Ed.
Oh, did you? Yeah.
Either I'm now in your same group or it's.
Do you have,
Yeah, his is, for some
Yeah.
reason it says 15. It should say 16.
Mine says 15 too.
for what?
I don't know, Mullins is 15 on his.
Yeah, because I
You
did
probably printed it at home.
Guys, I did the
All right.
detailed agenda
We did the
in the
detailed
agenda.
We don't
to
care.
the
We
email
don't
at
care.
16.
Yeah.
So a couple of things that have come up recently is Mullins rule procedures and voting procedures. So we talked about the voting procedures a little bit last time, and I did speak to town council. So under our bylaw, it says that a majority is of who is in office on the board. It's the opposite under the Wetlands Protection Act. So moving forward, we need to take votes and break them up separately. I talked to town council about it, and we should be doing that kind of moving forward. That's kind of how I set up the detailed agenda on there, which was, it was fine how we did it, but because it's different under our bylaw versus the state act, we need to do it separately. So under the bylaw, you need to have the majority of the people in office. We have 5 people, you have to have 3. Under the Wetlands Protection Act, it's who's at the meeting. So if we have, it ends up being the same, but say we only have 3 people at the meeting versus the 4 we have today. If we have 3, then you need 2 to approve it. You don't need the 3 like you do under the bylaw.
So are we covered by taking our normal vote, and in the event we don't have 3 votes, but we do have but we can meet the Wetland Protection Act standard of having 3 people in the room and going 2 to 1, can we then take the subsequent vote? Because if it's 3 to 1, it's 3 to 1. We don't need to take 2 votes.
You don't
right?
need to take 2 votes. You're not going to find any situation where you do need to take 2 votes.
Well, it would be if we only had 3 people in the room, we would need 3-0. But under Wetland Protection Act, it could go 2 to 1.
But it loses to the Sturbridge bylaw.
Right, but it would get approved under the state act. Doesn't mean they can do the project. They'd still have to either appeal or refile under the bylaw.
Yeah, so you
And
do
if
them
it-
both together.
If it ties, in either situation, it fails. We don't have to take a second subsequent
Yeah.
vote, which we had been advised to do before.
So we should, yeah.
Just, I mean, we all know that Stephen has not been at many meetings, and I know that's not the specific topic of this question, but do we have an obligation as commissioners to not be at every meeting, but be at a majority of the meetings, and we have now, I don't know what the number is, but 6 or 7 consecutive meetings where he hasn't been. And
Right.
listen, we all have a life outside of this.
Yeah.
So do we need to look at what we're going to do going forward? Because we're going to have situations like this that are going to continue to happen, and quite honestly, in a few moments, I was going to ask the chair to possibly recall the question. I can't do it of the one we just voted down 2 to 2. But those are going to continue to happen unless we have either another commissioner here or if Stephen can start to come.
The other thing,
And I think it's unfair to the applicants to be at 4 and an even number.
what you say is correct. I was hoping that Stephen would come back, It doesn't appear that he has, and I've spoken with Robin. Well, I didn't speak with Robin, I spoke with her assistant, and I sent over a person who might qualify. And I haven't had anything back on it. But, let me finish. We also have, our charter has changed. It changed at town meeting. We are supposed to have 2 associate members.
Sure.
And I asked, and that would totally solve the quandary that you're talking about. If we had 2 members and tonight, we would have 5. If we had 2 additional associate members.
So the next meeting is Thursday, October 27th. I won't be here.
Okay? I'm not coming then either.
Well, I mean, so that's going to create a situation
I will be
where,
on travel, and
fortunately, I'm traveling the week before that, so I will be here. But it's going to, we need to figure that out.
Yeah.
I meant to bring it up the last couple of meetings, but since we're talking about this, we can't be in a 2 to 2 situation. It just, it just doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah, well, I don't have any problem with the 2 to 2, but
I know.
That's,
We're different people.
yeah.
Ed. We know
that's,
this.
So, but let's go to the next thing, is that if you miss, which we didn't know, Becky found out, if you miss 2 meetings on a subject, the Mullen rule doesn't apply. You can't, you're not on it.
Can't
Oh.
vote on it.
Yeah.
You're done.
So that,
Yeah.
There's a project currently
Yeah.
before us that you are unable to vote on.
yeah, so.
I'm unable to vote on?
So this was brought up by the applicant because the question came up for the planning board, and he realized that it could be a potential issue with ours too. So I wasn't aware that with the Mullins rule,
I think I missed 2 meetings in 3 years.
I
and
know.
it
Well, we
happens
went
to be
back-
one project.
he went
That's
back and looked at it, I went back and looked
I
at
don't
it,
believe
yeah.
it myself.
So-
I think you were here.
Yeah.
I think you were just on the, you can be remote.
Yeah. Well,
No, he-
if I missed it, I missed it. It
Yeah,
is
he
what it
wasn't.
is.
There was 2, we checked because I was like, didn't think so either, but.
It had to be over February and April vacation then.
I think your daughter's birthday or something.
Oh, my daughter's birthday, and then it must have been April vacation.
Yeah, it was
All
April
right, let's,
vacation, I
let's
think.
move on here.
So right, you can miss one and do a Mullins, you can't miss two and do a Mullins. You can miss a meeting, and if the only thing that was said about that public hearing was that there was a continuation request, you're okay. So that's the caveat on that one.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep, if there's nothing's discussed.
Remember that, because we don't have to vote. We can just continue it.
No
If we,
testimony
if
was
we
heard.
don't have the right, a fair
Well-
number, you know.
Well, just so you're aware, and I was gonna bring it up in the agent report part of it, but since we're talking about it, so the, 55-plus community, applicant has decided that he's gonna withdraw his notice of intent and refile. So I was
It's
gonna.
probably smart.
Has he told you that?
Yeah,
So do you have it in writing?
not yet, but they'll be submitting it for the next meeting, because that's when their public hearing was continued to, so. Yeah, so,
All right, so
We
let's,
also-
let's get
We
through
also
this.
should bear in mind that if we can't get somebody to be a full-time member, we can get somebody to be an associate member. And in the case where you have a 2-2 vote, if the associate member has been present for all of the previous discussions about that topic, they sit in for the absent member and have a viable vote.
So, let's take this full circle.
But every single hearing, right? They have to be.
they have to be present for them too. They'd have to
Yeah,
be
they have the
present.
same rules.
Right.
And they would pick up on,
But if I, say those two meetings that I wasn't here for the 55 over community, and could they then pinch hit for me?
They'd have to for, I think, every discussion.
no, they couldn't pitch hit for you.
Unless they were,
Start up on it. If there was something, if,
Well, no, but if
Pinch
they
hit you
had
for
been
that
in,
day.
could I remove myself from discussions and they could be kind of a full voting member
I don't
on
know, yeah, how that
that? We'd have to look into
we'd
that.
have to look into that.
yeah, I think only if
There's a
they
lot
were
of other
present.
interesting stuff with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's worth trying.
That is interesting.
Yeah, but did the chart, they didn't do the charter yet. Are they still reviewing the charter?
What?
Are they still reviewing the charter? Or-
You're still reviewing the charter.
Yeah,
Hasn't come forward. It's coming
Okay.
forward the way that.
They have
you
another
think-
charter review committee meeting on the 15th.
and that will include the associate members.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, maybe moving forward when that goes through, so.
Let's get this meeting over with.
All right.
What do we got to do to get this over with?
Agent report. I just got a couple quick things.
Okay?
Just to let you know, at one of the recent Board of Selectmen meetings, the proposal for the Kerboy junkyard that we had spoke about was denied. The Board of Selectmen had asked for additional information. The applicants didn't submit it, and they told them to vote what was on there. They didn't go to the hearing either. So they closed that. So for now, that's been denied. They can come back if they choose to. So just wanted to let you know, because we brought that up with some concerns out there. 110 Brookfield Road, we spoke about that last time. Ed and I did do a site visit out there. I did ask him to submit a notice of intent for the work he's been doing out there along the outskirts of the parking lot. So we should be getting that. We did send him a letter kind of summarizing those conversations out there, and he has indicated that he's working on that. 413 Main Street is the parking lot that's associated with the Children's Dentistry Building and the former
Jimmy D's.
Jimmy D's.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So there's a river right below that parking lot. They had an emergency out there where the parking lot sank and the slope washed out.
Oh.
Yep. So they kind of immediately started working out there. We were made aware of it. Went out there. Chris McClure from McClure Engineering has been working on that. Where it has failed is right over a drainage pipe from DOT. That was the first thing I saw. So he's investigating. It's a newer pipe, and it doesn't look like the failure was probably from the pipe, but he's got to do some investigating to figure out what happened. So they were able to make some repairs to stop, the washout there. Significant amount of sediment in that stream down there. A lot that'll have to be removed. So we followed up with them. I know he's working on it. Just making them aware. Not sure if it's the property owner or if it's a DOT issue. Like I said, he's got to work on that. But I did send them a follow-up letter asking them to come to the next meeting with an update where that stands, because we do need to make sure we get the sediment removed out of there, sooner than later. So I just want to make you aware of that.
Good.
Those three?
That's it.
All right?
I know this is going to shock everyone, but I have no lakes report.
Same here, I have no CPA. CPA had a meeting, didn't get a quorum.
Oh,
I was part of the guilty party that didn't show up.
Ed, can I ask, when you guys have your next meeting, can you discuss what your deadline will be for CPC items for the annual town meeting? We're not having a fall one. We usually don't find out until last minute.
Yeah.
So if you guys could figure that out and let us know, that way we can be
Deadlines?
prepared. Yeah,
Got it.
thank you.
There are also no trails activities over the next 2 weeks.
The last farmer's market is on Sunday.
There you go. If I may, is there a method or remedy to recall a question as long as we're not reopening a public hearing?
Yeah, I think there is.
But I believe it's somebody who
Somebody
voted
who's
in the negative.
In the negative,
So,
that's normally the.
yeah, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I don't think in a few weeks any of us are going to feel very good about approving DEP file number 1134 and denying 1138 right next to each other. It seems arbitrary.
Yes.
So I would ask if one of the two negatives would be willing to recall the question and revote on that on DEP file number 300-1138.
I'll ask for a recall.
Okay. With regards to 237 Podunk Road, DEP file number 300-1138, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the project with the agent's notes and conditions.
I second that.
Any discussion? I'll tell you, you guys may be approving a project that should not be approved. You're voting without having been on the site.
I have been on
Without
the site.
seeing it, and without taking the verbal abuse Becky took from him on the site.
Okay, I'm not aware of any verbal abuse
Well-
that happened on the site. However,
Yeah,
I'm looking at this from
Okay.
through the eyes of public opinion.
That was my discussion, so.
So,
All right, David, you have anything to say?
No, I was disappointed in both votes.
What?
I don't think the project on either one of those two properties should go forward.
I-
But as I indicated at the second one, when I voted no to close the public hearing, it didn't work out the way I wanted it.
Right. But at any rate, let's vote.
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Roy Bishop in favor.
Ed Goodwin opposed.
David Barnacle in favor.
Thank you for
Okay.
your consideration, David.
Yeah. All right.
Eric, thanks.
All righty. Is that it?
Roy,
I need a motion.
do your thing.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Yep.
Eric
A
Gaspar,
second.
second.
All in favor?
Roy Bishop in favor.
Goodwin in favor.
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Barnacle in favor.